It is the state quarterfinals in Class 4A baseball as the Rogers Royals take on the number 3 seed in the tournament, the Hopkins Royals. Hello and welcome to beautiful CHS Field. John Jacobson and Drew Keel for tonight's game on a beautiful Friday evening. Temperature just under 80 degrees in the night. And Drew, it's Rogers' first state tournament appearance. A lot of excitement in the Royals baseball community. And for Hopkins, their first state tournament appearance since 2012.
Yeah, as you can see from that camera view, beautiful looking field. That's our perspective for this evening here on Friday night at CHS Field. A couple Royals teams, both wearing black jerseys, white pants. Look for the Hopkins team with the white caps and white and blue hats. But both teams excited about this evening's late start. Exciting afternoon and exciting this morning when Stillwater defeated Eden Prairie. Eastridge advanced and New Prague just defeated Blaine earlier this afternoon. But these two teams eager, having different seasons. Hopkins having a pretty solid regular season and cruising through their section. Rogers had a tough regular season, but they fought through their section and made it here to the state tournament for the first time.
Each team with 4-0 records in their respective sections to advance to state. Here's a look at the batting order for the Rogers Royals. Chase Lamont leading off and playing left field. Jonah Maurer in center field batting second. Easton Miller, the shortstop, hits third. Then it's Reed Olson in right. Christian Meyer at second base. Carter Van Engen, the catcher. Brandon Welch at third base. Gavin McLaughlin, the DH, he hits for his brother Garrett, who's the pitcher tonight. And Aaron Schmidt bats ninth and plays first base for Rogers. And for the Hopkins Royals defensively, around the infield, Calvin Harris at first. Louis Felamodicius at second. Kyle Fiducia at short. Sam Sickink at third base. Luke Poliak in left. Wyatt Nelson in center. Parker Johnson in right. Jake Perry, the catcher. And Miles Halligan is the pitcher. And this guy has been lights out late in the regular season and the postseason. There you see his numbers, 5-0, an ERA 1.89, 68 innings, Drew, or 68 strikeouts in 33 innings, over 2 Ks per inning for Halligan.
Yeah, that is a pretty amazing stat to look at when you think about striking out basically 2 batters per inning. And for this Hopkins team, who didn't really give up too many runs during the section playoffs, but also think about the regular season with him throwing the ball, throwing strikes. That's who you want to take the mound for this Hopkins team as they're seeded third here in the state tournament.
It was the same pitching matchup when these teams played about 3 weeks ago, May 20th at Hopkins. McLaughlin against Halligan. And Rogers actually led that one going into the bottom of the 7th, 1-0, before Hopkins rallied and scored 2 runs in the home half of the inning to win 2-1. It was kind of how Rogers' season went for a while. They had 5 walk-off losses in a row against good teams. But as Drew mentioned, turned it around in the postseason as the 7th seed and came through and won that tournament to get to state for the first time in program history.
Yeah, they had a tough stretch down the end, you know, sprinkling in 2 10-0 wins, but other than that, they had 8 to 10 losses, and they had a pretty similar schedule. Played a lot of similar teams: Minnetonka, Eden Prairie, Edina, Maple Grove, Wayzata, Blaine, and of course they face each other late in the season. So these two know each other fairly well, and playing recently, they should know what to expect this evening.
Chase Lamont to lead it off here against Miles Halligan. First pitch, bunted foul. Lamont on the season comes in with a .407 batting average. No home runs, 3 RBIs. 12 runs scored, is second on the team in that category. Drives the second pitch up into the air. Sickink, the third baseman, called off now. It's the shortstop, Fiducia, who makes the catch in foul territory for the first out of the ball game.
And I think you're going to see Rogers be aggressive at the plate early on, because if you get behind in the count, Halligan, he's going to be able to work that zone and throw that breaking ball, which really helps him kind of open up his pitches. But nice play there by Hopkins shortstop to call off the third baseman, which we want to see, and good loud communication in the infield to make sure there's no confusion.
Lauer's the number 2 hitter and center fielder, and a first pitch strike to him. Jonah on the season comes in with a .351 at batting average. No home runs, 5 RBIs. 10 stolen bases, second on the team. He bunts this when Sickink barehands it, throw to first. Not in time. It's an infield bunt single for Maurer. And Rogers has a base runner on here in the top of the first.
Yeah, good solid bunt by Maurer there to lay it down the third baseline. You saw him there on that tight shot right before that pitch came in to take a peek to where the third baseman is to make sure that he still has a good chance to lay down the bunt and get down the first baseline. And he laid it down perfectly and just beat the throw. Good solid bare hand throw from the third baseman, but speed kind of pays off there for Rogers.
Got a pretty decent lead over there. Draws a throw, and Harris' tag is too late as Maurer ducks back in. 10 for 12 on steals this season for the Royals center fielder. Now here's Easton Miller, the Rogers shortstop. Halligan's delivery to him is a strike.
And like I said, with the Rogers being aggressive at the base at the plate, they're probably going to be aggressive on the base paths too, trying to do anything they can do to kind of try and shake Halligan up while he's on the mound there. Don't let him get too comfortable and kind of dominate this game early.
Pitch outside, a fastball, and 1-1. Outside, 2 balls and a strike.
Halligan seems to have pretty good movement on his fastball as well as breaking ball. Obviously, his breaking ball is going to move, but when you have movement on that fastball, that makes that even more difficult to hit and locate and kind of time up and square up as a solid hit when you're at the plate.
Foul back, and the count evens at 2-2 to Miller. Send the runner on this pitch, Drew?
I think you do. I think it's early. You don't have. I mean, obviously, you don't want to lose this game, but you want to jump out and try and take advantage and put Hopkins in a pressure spot, and with speed on the base paths, I think you might see them try and take advantage of that.
Not going. 2-2 pitch, cut and a miss, and the strikeout of Miller. Nice pitch there, Drew, by Halligan. Yeah,
good pitch off the plate, down in the zone. Tough pitch to hit, and a lot of hitters try and pull those pitches, but it's really tough to pull those pitches, and what you want to do is you want to push that to the opposite field or at least follow it off to try and live and see another pitch. Nice breaking ball in the outside corner.
Two away, and Reed Olson, the right fielder and cleanup hitter, the batter. This pitch low for ball 1. Olson, the .360 batting average. 8 doubles and a triple, and a team high 13 RBIs on the season for Olson, so he's got some pop in his bat. Hits this one past Sickink and into left field for a base hit. Maurer wound second, but he'll hold on, and it's 2 runners on for Rogers with 2 outs in the first.
Again, aggressive at the plate, swinging at those pitches early in the count. This ball driven to the left side of the infield, just underneath the third baseman's glove. You see, he has a chance to come up with it. If he does, it would have been a tough play, but it scoots right under his glove. And I think Hopkins is a little lucky that the runner from second didn't try and take third, because there was nobody covering third as that ball scooted into left field. But played it safe and keep that runner in scoring position and don't run yourself out of an inning here.
Here's Christian Meyer. This pitch outside and low for ball 1. Meyer, .297 batting average on the season. The home runs, 8 runs batted in. Maurer getting his lead out at second. Olson, the runner, aboard at first. And the called strike. It's 1-1.
You know, Halligan, even though he's got 2 runners on base here, he's 1 out away from getting out of this inning, but he's throwing strikes, and he's throwing anything he's throwing is close to the plate. He's not erratic. He's not wild. And if you're Hopkins coaching, that's what you want to see, is him throwing balls around the plate. Even if he misses, it's okay. It's a good miss.
Off the corner there, and it's 1-2.
Because early on in the game, what you're trying to do is you're trying to show the umpire you have control. You're throwing the ball where you want to throw it, and you can hit your spots. And that kind of pays off later in the game. The umpire understands that you're throwing strikes and you're trying to stretch that zone.
1-2 pitch. Foul back. Meyer, good job just to get a piece of that to stay alive in this at bat.
Yeah, nice defensive swing there. He's not going to drive that ball. He's not trying to hit it out of the park, but he didn't see a pitch that he liked, but he knew it was close enough to be called a strike and didn't let the umpire take that bat out of his hand and fall it off to get another pitch here.
Another 2-2 pitch on the way from Halligan. back at the runner at second, dancing off the bag and comes home. Outside 3-2. That's another runners. Maurer at second and Olsen at first can be off with the pitch. Correcting the call. Yeah, 2-2 the count. Scoreboard had read 3-2, but it is 2-2. To Meyer. Inside. Runner going, who I think probably still thought it was 3-2. Perhaps Maurer gets the steal. Or maybe he was just off with that.
Yeah, that's good base running there. Yeah. Take advantage of an opportunity there and get down to third base. Of course, it's easy to say since he made it in safely, but
3-2 pitch, ball 4.
Just
Meyer hesitated.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of froze for a moment, but it was ball 4. Now the base is loaded for Rogers with 2 outs here in the first.
Yeah, very close pitch there, just off the outside corner of the plate. But if you're Rogers, this is what you're looking for. You're looking for an opportunity to strike early in this game. You're not supposed to be here. You come into this tournament with a losing record, but hey, you won your section. You're facing one of the better pitching staffs in the state, and if you can jump out to an early lead, you're in a good spot.
Now Carter Van Engen with a chance to deliver here for Rogers. First pitch is low for ball 1. Van Engen a .271 batting average on the season. No home runs, 6 RBIs. Cut and a miss and a good fastball. It's 1-1.
Nice strong fastball up in the zone. You can hear that mitt pop, throwing that ball pretty hard.
Called strike, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, that called strike for Perry, setting up on the outside corner of the plate. I think that was a little off the plate, but Perry scooted out off the plate at the last second and convinced the umpire that was close enough to call it a strike.
1-2 pitch. And that's 2-2. Halligan certainly working here in this first inning, trying to get the final out here on Rogers. 2 pitch, hit in the air, out to right field, breaking back and then coming in and making the catch toward the line. Parker Johnson for the final out of the inning. Rogers, no runs, 2 hits, no Hopkins errors, and 3 left on for the Rogers Royals in the top of the first. It gets Hopkins to the dugout, and we'll get them to the plate for the first time tonight. Let's look at the batting order for Hopkins tonight. Luke Poliak will lead it off and play in left field. Jake Perry is the catcher, hitting second. Then Wyatt Nelson in center field, hitting third. Calvin Harris at first, bats fourth. Parker Johnson in right field. Will Stein is the DH, hitting for the pitcher Halligan. Sam Sickink at third. Louis Felimavicius at second, and Kyle Fiducia at shortstop, batting ninth for Hopkins. And they will face this defense. Schmidt at first for Rogers, Christian Meyer at second, Easton Miller at short, Brandon Welch at third base, Chase Labatt in left, Jonah Maurer in center, Reed Olson in right, Carter Van Engen the catcher, and Garrett McLaughlin the pitcher tonight for Rogers. Numbers on McLaughlin, 4-4, but an ERA of under 2, 1.72, and averaging over a strikeout per inning, 67 Ks in 57 innings of pitch this season. So I mentioned that Hopkins saw him in a game May 20th, same pitching matchup, McLaughlin against Halligan, and we'll see what Garrett McLaughlin has tonight.
Yeah, I think he's going to have his hand full. This Hopkins lineup seems to be hitting on all cylinders with Poliak at the top of the order, and then on through that 6, 7, 8, 9 batting, spot in the batting order. They've been hitting the ball pretty well through the section and late in the season, but 57 innings pitched is a pretty good sign with an ERA under 2. So he's quite the workhorse for this Rogers offense, or for this Rogers pitching staff, and if he can get comfortable out there, it'll be a really good sign for Rogers here early in this game.
mentioned right at the start of our telecast the late start. This game was supposed to start at 5:30, but games went long. The previous 3 quarterfinal round games, not so much the first game that was a 5-inning win for Stillwater over Eden Prairie, but the middle 2 games went long. They take a good 50 minutes to an hour in between games prepping for the next game. So this 5:30 game turned into about 8:02 for first pitch. It is a beautiful evening, but it's going to be a late evening for the fans of the teams in this game. And they come back and play again tomorrow. The loser will play at Northwestern at 12:30. The winner will come right back here to CHS for a 2:30 start to face New Prague. First pitch of the bottom of the first is low for ball 1 to Luke Polyak. Polyak was hurt much of the season, or close to half of the season. But what a batting average when he was able to hit, Drew. He is hitting .600 of the season in 40 at bats. Drives this one deep out to right, and it is caught out in right field by Olson. A great running grab to the corner that took away an extra base hit from Polyak.
A great swing by Polyak to drive that all the way to the warning track in deep right field, but nice job by the right fielder to track that down, stay with this ball. Probably the first time he's ever played in this field, but he tracked it down and stayed with it and knew where that ball was the whole time, didn't worry too much about the fence, and right as he gets to the warning track, makes a stab at it, catches it, and a great effort to get that first out.
First pitch high and away to Jake Perry, the Hopkins catcher. Perry on the season a .321 batting average, 1 home run, 16 runs batted in. Missed low and in. It's 2-0. Three balls and no strikes to the number 2 hitter for Hopkins. Taking all the way, it's a forced pitch walk. For McLaughlin on the season, it's a 24th walk he's allowed in 57 1/3 innings.
Yeah, now what he wanted to do there after getting that great play by his right fielder to get that first out and keep Polyak off the base paths, but here he gives up the 4-pitch walk to Perry. So now Hopkins has their first base runner on. Looks like we got a little sprinkles out there, a little bit of rain, nothing too bad. There was rain earlier this afternoon, but just passing sprinkles didn't look like anything too serious.
Wyatt Nelson, first pitch dropped, but not far enough away. Jason Schumacher is the courtesy runner down at first base.
There's a little confusion there on that pitch call, and the pitcher and catcher want to make sure that when they go to the stretch here that they're on the right signs here to make sure the 1 means what and 2 means what, and make sure that when you're throwing a curveball the catcher's expecting it as well. I think he's going to be asked to take off his necklace and make sure it's not distracting any Hopkins batters, but in the regular season that may not be an issue, but when you get to the state tournament you got extra umpires, you got extra eyeballs, and now you're trying to do anything you can to win this game because it's different than the regular season. The regular season is not the end of the world if you lose a game. Win a game, lose a game. But here in the state tournament, if you lose, you're done for that ultimate goal. You want to win a state championship.
Wyatt Nelson's had a terrific season, Drew. .421 batting average. A team high 24 runs scored, 11 RBIs. For Nelson's also contributed as a pitcher. A couple of games for them in the late in the season, the postseason. And McLaughlin gets a strike after throwing 6 straight out of the zone. Comes back and then a count 2-1. Calvin Harris on deck for Hopkins. Here McLaughlin's pitch missed inside, 3-1.
Good hitters count here. This Hopkins lineup, top half is very aggressive and quite a bit of pop in their bats from what I've seen in the past 3-4 weeks when I've seen them play a few times. And you want to groove on down the center of the plate here for Wyatt Nelson, especially with Calvin Harris coming up behind him.
4 and back-to-back walks issued by McLaughlin, and Hopkins has something going here in the bottom half of the first.
Rain picking up a little bit, but good eye there to get that second runner on. And now Kelvin Harris comes up. He's got a very open swing, very aggressive, big, giant looping swing, and see if he can drive one to the gap here.
Harris comes in, .327 batting average on the season, 5 doubles, 13 runs batted in. Schumacher getting his lead. Down at second. Coughlin's pitch misses. 1-0.
He's close. He's over the plate. He seems to be just low every time. Every pitch that he's missed has been just low in the zone, but not by much. You know, and sometimes that's a sign of just overthrowing and trying to do too much. And sometimes you just want to make sure that he's feeling comfortable out there. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see another mound visit here by coach or the catcher, and just to, hey, calm down. Don't groove one to this guy.
As we're waiting it right now.
Yeah, you want to make sure he's feeling okay. He's feeling comfortable. You know, this is your workhorse. This is your #1. You want to make sure he's confident and comfortable out there, because if there's something going on, he's got to tell you, because he's not going to be able to throw strikes on a consistent basis, and that's not what you can't afford that here earlier in the game against this Hopkins lineup. And it's just, you know, coach just reminding him, hey, you helped get us here. You've thrown strikes all throughout the season. You got 50-some innings on your belt this year, throwing strikes. You got a sub-2 ERA. Throw strikes. Trust your pitches and have some confidence. Know your defense can help you out.
Two balls, no strikes to Harris. Schumacher, the runner at second. Nelson at first. Just one out for the Royals here in the bottom half of the first. Coughlin's pitch right down the heart of the plate for a strike. 2-1. Down to first. They'll go to second to get one out, and that's it. They go get Nelson. Schumacher moves on to third. Harris reaches on the fielder's choice. The ball fielded by Aaron Schmidt.
Yeah, cleanly fielded by the first baseman. Nice throw on a second base. But something little here by Nelson. You see him kind of hesitate and kind of run back towards first to kind of create some confusion there for the first baseman. It caused him to hesitate just a second, and that may not have, you know, afforded them to get the runner down to first, but it helps, and it's something to think about, because later on down the road that could cause the first baseman to bobble the ball or let it go by him.
3-6 on the put out with shortstop Miller covering. The first pitch strike to Parker Johnson, the right fielder. Johnson, who drove in the winning run against Rogers when these teams played last month at Hopkins, takes another strike, and now McLaughlin a strike away from getting out of a jam here in the bottom of the first.
Nice backdoor breaking ball there to build some confidence. That's the kind of pitch you want to see him throwing more often, because if you can throw that over the plate, that really helps you out.
Way inside, 1-2, and a good job to keep it in front of him by Carter Van Engen.
Yeah, nice job. The runner didn't, from first, didn't even have a chance to get down to second. He kept that right out in front of him so he could see where the runners are and knew where the ball was, and knew if he had to hustle and throw it down to second if he had to.
McLaughlin's 1-2 fouled back out of play.
Good two-strike swing there. Not the best pitch to swing at, but close enough that you got to defend again, and fouled that one off to see another pitch.
Runner going from first, called strike 3. Johnson knew it. And McLaughlin works out of trouble here in the home half of the first. So not easy first innings for either pitcher, but no scores either. No runs, no hits, 2 left for Hopkins. We played 1 inning at CHS Field, State Class 4A quarterfinal round baseball. No score, Rogers and Hopkins.
CCX Media is the first place you go for local news and sports. But did you know you can sign up for those stories to go straight to your inbox on our website? Simply go to ccxmedia.org. Click on the subscribe button, and from there choose which notifications you want to receive. Then we'll send your favorite CCX Media news, sports, and city events straight to your inbox. Sign up now at ccxmedia.org.
John Jacobson with Drew Keough going to the top half of the second inning. Each team with base runners. Rogers leaving 3 on in the top of the first, and Hopkins leaving 2 runners aboard in the bottom half of the first. So we have no score as we go to the second.
Yeah, both teams having really good opportunities there in the first inning. Rogers definitely leaving the bases loaded. Really felt like they had a chance to jump out early in this game, but Halligan did a nice job to get out of that jam. And then Rogers did that first pitch by Poliak driven to right field down the line to the warning track. Seemed like it was going to be a great start for Hopkins, but Rogers gets out of that inning without giving up a run or a hit.
7, 8, and 9 hitters up. Brandon Welch drives one deep to right center field. This is going to fall for a hit. It's off the wall. Going to bounce back towards center field. Welch is digging for 3. He's going to go in, standing up with a triple to start the Rogers second inning.
Wow, what a great hit. Great swing there. Great ball to drive. Drove it to the right center field gap. Right off that CHS fence, CHS banner in right center field. He knew he tagged it pretty well. It short hops the fence and or hits the fence on a fly. You see the center fielder nowhere in sight. He kind of thought the right fielder was going to get it, and he ends up kind of hustling over and allows that runner to scoot over to third without much of a challenge. But that's one of those things where every play there's something that every player should be doing, and when that ball's hit to right field, that center fielder's got to be over there expecting that the right fielder's going to have troubles tracking that ball down.
First pitch strike to Gavin McLaughlin. First triple of the season for Welch. Third hit of the game for Rogers. Gavin McLaughlin, a .283 batting average on the season. DH, number 8 hitter tonight for Rogers. Bunted foul.
It was not a squeeze. It was not a safety squeeze. It didn't seem like the runner was that far down the third baseline, but still trying to do anything you can to keep Halligan off balance and get that ball down and try and bring in that first run of the game.
Foul. It stays at 1 and 2 to McLaughlin. Time called by McLaughlin.
I think umpire's just saying, hey, let me call time. Don't just call time and step out. Let the umpire make sure that everybody knows time's called. Because no matter what, if the batter calls time, it's still up to the umpire to acknowledge it and say, hey, time's called. But that time the batter just stepped out of the box. Fortunately, nothing bad happened.
Up high, 2 and 2.
Halligan still has a pitch to work with here. But with that runner on third, you don't want to throw anything too bad in the dirt to give Perry too much work and have that ball scoot away and let that runner come in.
Called strike 3. Second strikeout for Miles Halligan, and there's 1 away in the Rogers second.
Big strikeout there after that leadoff triple to come back in and get that ball on the inside part of the plate. He's down in the zone, but it's tough. It's tough. You got to protect that plate with 2 strikes.
That brings up Aaron Schmidt, number 9 hitter, Rogers' first baseman. And time, ball 1.
I think you're going to see Halligan try and keep that ball down low in the zone to force a ground ball. You got the Hopkins infield playing pretty much in on the grass. Corners are almost in further, but looks like they're going to try and bring that ball home on anything that's hitting the ground in the infield.
2 balls and no strikes.
which will be a tough play with this rain coming in. That grass is kind of wet, so anything that's hit in the grass, those fielders are going to have to be very careful throwing that ball to home plate. But you know, this is something they practice throughout the spring and here early in the summer to make sure that they can execute this part of the season.
Called strike. It's 2-1. Rain has stopped for now. A few raindrops. This is driven well out to left field. Back goes Poliak. And it's gone. A two-run homer for Aaron Schmidt.
He thought it was a ground rule double.
Rogers.
He didn't know what was going on. He still doesn't. Oh, what a great feeling for him. It hit the top of the fence and bounces over. He thought it was a ground rule double.
He's like, sorry, I didn't know.
Oh, that's fun. Oh, the 9-hitter.
Man, did he get a hold of that one. Look at that again.
He hits it. He knew he hit it well. But now he's just trying to do what he can do and hustle, get around the base paths. He saw it bounce up. And it just hits the top of the fence and just gets over for a home run. As he's around the base paths, he's checking with the second base umpire, and he's like, hey, that went over? Is that a home run? Everybody's like, yes, get in here. That's a home run. Good for him. Nice hit.
Just the second home run hit by Rogers this season. The other one was by Easton Miller. The first of the season for Schmidt. RBI 7 and 8 for him.
Looks like Hallen's going to have the spike come out, clean his shoes off a little bit, getting a little muddy around the mound. And that rain, it kind of clumps up that fresh dirt in between every game here. This crew does a great job to get the field together and ready, and they want to make sure everything's clean and dry as it can possibly get. And by doing that, what they do is they lay down a fresh coat of dirt down in the mound, but when it rains, it kind of clumps up and makes it really muddy and sticks to the pitcher's cleats.
His teammates are like, didn't you see the signal for home run? He's like, no.
They're probably like, dude, you got to get your hair like ours. Look at our hair. Oh, state tournament hair. I love it. So it went over that fence over there. It hit that, and then it went over. Yeah. Dude, you hit it out of the park.
Fun moment for him.
He's still on cloud 9. Look at him. Wow. Oh, he's going to have fun.
Well, we're back to the top of the order already in the second inning for Rogers. 1 out, 2 runs in, and Chase Lamont coming to the plate to face Miles Halligan, who Drew's going to have to regroup now and say, okay, that's done. Let's go to work on the rest of these guys.
Yeah, because Halligan was throwing strikes there, and he was in kind of the driver's seat after giving up that leadoff triple. But you know, that home run kind of rattled him, and now he needs to get back in that windup and throw strikes and get his team off the field so they can go hit some balls.
First pitch is a strike.
Again, we saw this in the first time through the order. Both 1 and 2 hitters laid down or squared around a bunt multiple times in their first at bats.
Grounded, foul. And Lamont in an 0-2 hole here against Halligan. Might have fouled out in his first at bat. Cut and a miss. And the strikeout for Halligan is out number 2 in the second.
Nice job to rear back and throw a high fastball and get that strikeout right across the plate. Hard to get around on those fastballs up in the zone, but here he is up 0-2 in the count and up and in, got that strikeout.
Well, Drew, you can see what happens when you make good time. Halligan throws hard, but if you get a good swing on it, obviously the ball's going to go a long way, and we've seen that with both Welch and Schmidt here in the second.
Yeah, at both sides of the plate. I mean, both teams. When you have these aluminum bats and you square up a ball from a pitcher who's throwing that hard, you don't have to square it up perfectly. If you make solid contact, it's going to go.
Outside a ball, it's 1-1.
You know, another thing about that mound is not only does the dirt get clumpy, but that mound gets slippery. It's a big chunk of rubber, and it gets slippery, and there's not much of a gap. You know, most high school mounds don't get this much attention, and there's a little bit of a gap for your toes to kind of fall in, but this one doesn't really have much.
Called strike. It's 1-2.
You know, at the higher level, those mounds are perfected. They're manicured. There's no gap. But when you play in these high school mounds, you usually have a little bit of a gap. And even at Hopkins, they have that fake mound that kind of comes up, and the mound kind of sticks up out of that artificial turf.
Fake mound. I like that. 2-2. That one missed. Maurer with the infield single in the first, got as far as third, but was stranded. Check the swing, and it's 3-2.
Took a little bit off that one. Nice off-speed pitch. I think that's the first time we've seen that pitch tonight. Yeah, so what he's doing now is he's kind of moving forward. He's not even touching the mound, but before he was putting his feet kind of square on the mound. Now he's decided to kind of move up ahead of it.
Called strike 3 on the outside corner. Pitcher seemed to be getting those corner strikes, and Halligan got one there. He struck out the side in the second, but Rogers doing damage around that. They get a triple, a 2-run homer from Aaron Schmidt after an inning and a half. Our score now, Rogers 2, Hopkins nothing.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth.
He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching.
This guy, no, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Go to the bottom half of the second inning here on a Friday night in St. Paul. Rogers and Hopkins. State tournament baseball. The other classes, 1A, 2A, and 3A all played Thursday, Friday, whereas 4A is going Friday, Saturday. So the other classes already have their championship games decided by tonight, whereas these teams, the winners from today in 4A, will play again tomorrow here at CHS to find out who will move to Target Field on Thursday.
Yeah, a little different than the girls softball tournament, where they kind of pack it all within 2 days, and you know, you play 2 games on one day and then championships next day for all classes right down there in Mankato. Here they spread it out across multiple parks, and it's kind of fun to see all this baseball coming into the CHS Field and down to the mini-met and all the other venues. And you know, one thing that would be nice to see is, you know, the semifinals kind of being played in the same day in the same venue, so you get kind of this packed house. You get all this overlapping of crowds and teams and classes. It's kind of a fun environment.
Healthy cut, but a miss by Will Stein, the designated hitter tonight. Hitting for Miles Halligan. The count goes to 1-2 to Stein. Comes in with a .327 batting average on the season. Cut and a miss, and a strikeout. The second of the game for Garrett McLaughlin. That leads off the Hopkins second.
Nice breaking ball there by McLaughlin. It's a big sweeping breaking ball from the inside part of the plate all the way to the outside plate. That plate ball's off the outside part of the plate, but up in the zone. And you know, you got to protect that plate with 2 strikes. But there he gets the strikeout.
First pitch. This is high to Sam Sicking. Guys can do a little bit of everything for Hopkins. Played third base. He's pitched some. He's caught some. Starting at third base tonight. Didn't mean to swing, and right back to the pitcher McLaughlin. Will run it over and flip it to Schmidt. 2 down.
Yeah, tried to hold up a swing there, check swing, but went far enough around that he squared it up and one hopped it right to the pitcher and easily came up with the ball and chucked it over to first base to get the second out.
That brings up the second baseman, Louis Felimavicius. First pitch strike to him. Trying to miss. McLaughlin's ahead in the count.
We're seeing him build a little bit of confidence up there. He was kind of struggling earlier in the game, the first inning, and now he's throwing that breaking ball with confidence, and it really opens up his pitches.
Grounded down to second. Christian Meyer bobbles it a little bit, but has time to recover and throw to Schmidt. And it's a quick 1-2-3, bottom of the second for Hopkins. Nothing across for the Royals. We played 2 innings here in St. Paul. Our score after 2. State Tournament Baseball, Rogers 2, Hopkins nothing.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
That is quite an outfit, Drew. You didn't sport that for tonight.
No, well, you don't know that.
Beard.
I mean, maybe I can put him up with some of the hairdos from this Rogers team. That's a nice outfit. The ripped off sleeves really makes it. Right. I mean, the fake mustache is a good that's a good start, but the ripped off sleeves is a good go.
Well, the Rogers fans who have turned out tonight and had to wait quite a while. As I mentioned, this was supposed to be a 5:30 start, and we started 2.5 hours. We waited for that new Blaine game was entertaining. Bray got a big lead and made a couple of miscues, allowed Blaine to come back, and then they get a run in the top of the 7th. Blaine unable to score in the home half of the inning. First appearance for New Prague since 1980. Now they're into the semifinals in Class 3A.
Yeah, they had a 6-1 lead going into the bottom of the 3rd or 4th, I believe, and a mishap at first base kind of allowed Blaine to kind of sneak into it, and all of a sudden you realize it was like, oh my gosh, it's 6-6. And then, you would expect Blaine to have the momentum and go on and win this as the bigger school, but sure enough, New Prague kind of focused in and came away with that win.
Grounded pass short and into left center field, and Easton Miller is on to start the Rogers 3rd inning.
Not what I've seen out of Hopkins thus far. That was this year. That's not a typical play. That ball seemed to be a pretty routine ground ball, but it skips under the shortstop's glove and scoots out into left field to allow the leadoff batter to get on base here.
Goes as an error on the shortstop, Ducia. First pitch popped up by Reed Olson out of play.
You would expect a bunt, but with your cleanup hitter at the plate, maybe not. You don't want to take the bat out of his hand, but up 2-0, you're trying to do anything you can to get that 3rd run across, knowing Halligan's quite the strikeout pitcher here. You want to get that runner on a second any chance you can to get that runner in scoring position.
Slow bouncer. Halligan slips, but able to get the throw to second. They get 1 run. Then the throw past the first base bag, and moving down to second goes Olson. So it works about the same really as a sacrifice.
Yeah, when it all comes to an end, it all ended up the way Rogers wanted it, and Hopkins was pretty fortunate that ball, and they ended up getting that first out at second base because Halligan definitely slipped. His cleats kind of slid out underneath him, but he still made a good throw to down to second base, and the shortstop kind of short hopped the throw to first base and got by the first baseman, but that runner then advances down to second base.
So 2 errors now in the inning for Hopkins. The last one allowing Olson to move up a base and into scoring position. Christian Meyer takes high and away for ball 1. Walked in his first at bat. Off the plate, 2-0.
See Halligan looking at this mound, but you can't really see it from this camera angle, but from our perspective, there's definitely a clear, or like a big chunk that's very dirty and very wet. You can see that dark spot in front of the mound. That's where his landing foot comes down, and he feels awkward, and he's trying to make it clear to, hey, let's address this and make sure that doesn't something that doesn't go on throughout the rest of the game.
It seems to have bothered him a little more, affected him a little more anyway than McLaughlin so far.
And another thing you got to think about is Hopkins plays at least half their games on artificial turf, and not only is it their field, but their entire mound is it's a fake mound. It's artificial turf.
4-pitch walk. Myers got his second walk, and runners at first and second with one out here in the third for Rogers.
I think what we're going to see here is the Hopkins coach come out and talk to him and say, hey, is this something we need to take care of the mound, or is this something you can get through? Because this is not, you don't want your pitcher thinking about this type of stuff. You want him to be able to think about throwing strikes, throwing fastballs, throwing curveballs, hitting his spots, not focusing on where's my foot going to land, because he just slipped on the last ball that was put in play. And then every time he comes down, he lands in that dark spot right there that he's pointing out. You can see it's a lot darker, and it's sticky, it's chunky. It's not a natural landing spot. I wouldn't be surprised if you see the grounds crew come out eventually in a little bit more of magic dust down there and kind of dry that spot up. And you may say, hey, well, by the time he lets go of the ball, his foot is just hitting that spot, so it doesn't really affect his throw. But it's a mental thing. When you land that foot, you're thinking about, okay, why isn't my foot sliding like it usually does? Like when you're bowling, you expect a little bit of slide in your shoes, and if you don't have that right slide, it's really going to affect the way you throw that ball.
Yeah, they pointed it out to home plate umpire Aaron Stockey, so he's aware of it. John Faison and Lonnie Steiner are their umpires tonight. Carter Van Engen, the catcher, flew to right to end the first. Comes up for the second time tonight. Which pitch is a strike. Inside, it hit him. And the base is loaded now for Rogers here in the third.
Yeah, just nicked him. You could hear it up here. Just caught his jersey or his shoulder. I think we might see a pitching change, or at least get them to bring the ground crew out, one or the other.
Well, this is the second visit. It's going to have to be a pitching change, Drew.
Yep. Yep.
Jason Mikolakis, the head coach, is out, and so Miles Halligan, after 2 1/3 innings, is out. We will take a break with a pitching change for Hopkins. The score, Rogers 2, Hopkins nothing, and the Rogers Royals threatening for more. Take a break, come back. More baseball from CHS Field after this.
An old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly. Lights out. Good night. And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Nick Canitz is the new pitcher for the Hopkins Royals, replacing Miles Halligan here in the top half of the third inning. Canitz on the season. It's 23 2/3 innings. An earned run average of 1.48 on the season. Struck out 32 batters in 23 innings. You get a lot of guys who can bring it, Drew, with the pitches. Canitz guy averaging over a strikeout per inning. We saw him early in the season against Osseo pick up a save against the Orioles. And he'll get the call here, trying not only to get out of a jam, but give them some innings here and trying to keep it at 2-0 and allow his team a chance to rally with the bats.
Yeah, in high school baseball, when it comes to postseason, it's not about having an ace. It's about having a rotation. It's about having a staff. It's about having a group of pitchers that can fill in. So when Miles Halligan takes the mound and he's not feeling comfortable after 2 innings, 3 innings, you have another pitcher who can come in. And also, if they go on to win this game, they have another pitcher set up that can pitch in the semifinals and then come back in the championship as well. And that's usually what a successful playoff team consists of, is good, solid pitching. You know, 1 through 4 or 5 to have good arms out there.
Good stop by Jake Perry on that first pitch that was low to Brandon Welch. Welch with a triple led off the second inning. Taking, and it's a strike, 1-1.
Nice breaking ball there to get that first strike under his belt.
Reed Olson, the runner at third. He's the lead runner. 3 runners on for Rogers. That one's low it in.
And a nice job there by Perry to keep that ball in front of him and put his mitt on the ball and make sure it doesn't scoop by him.
Grounded to second, but it's a slow roller. They'll go to second to get 1. That's all they'll get.
Yeah, it's a good play there. You can see the rain kind of coming down again, but not the hardest hit ball. A chopper to second base. You want to make sure you get that first out. Fake throw to first to try and get that runner to advance past third base too far, but make sure you get that first out so you don't put yourself in a very bad position here. Get that first out and put yourself 1 out away from getting out of this jam.
You could tell right when it was hit, Drew, that wasn't going to be hit hard enough for Hopkins to turn a double play here. They get the out at second, but Olson comes in on the play. Meyer moves to third.
Interesting their decision here by Hopkins to hold on the runner at first with 2 outs. Usually see him kind of let that get that big lead with the runner at third, but wasn't enough effect in this play.
Slow roller, and Canitz will throw it over to Harris, and they get the final out. But a run in for Rogers here in the third inning. A run, no hits, 2 errors, and 2 left on for Rogers. We played 2.5 innings. New score: Rogers Royals are now leading Hopkins 3-0.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
St. Paul on a Friday night. Some sun, some rain. That's some good baseball. Hopkins trailing Rogers 3-0 though, Drew, with the number 3 seed in the 4A tournament. But the Rogers Royals, as they did in the section tournament, have come to play tonight. Stuck it to Hopkins early.
Yeah, looking at the stats, looking at the records, this is not what you'd expect to see heading to the bottom of the third inning. But you know, Rogers has come in here. They've done what they can to get runners on base. Had a big home run by their 9-hitter to go up 2-0. Then took advantage of a couple errors by Hopkins there. Knocked Halligan out of the game here in the third inning. And here they're up 3-0 here in the third inning. But this Hopkins lineup, I mean, once you turn it over, I mean, it's a solid lineup from top to bottom. But once you turn it over and get it over to Poliak, those 1 through 3 or 4 or 5 hitters, they can easily put up runs real quick.
Number 9 hitter for Hopkins is Kyle Fiducia, the shortstop. Here McLaughlin now working with a 3-0 lead. Grounded hard to short. Miller up with a high throw, but easily caught by Schmidt at first. And 1 away in the Hopkins first. And back to the top of the order in Luke Poliak.
Yeah, just the way you want to start the inning if you're McLaughlin. You want to get that first out. Easy chopper down to the shortstop. Nice throw over to first. You got that big frame over at first base for the stretch and get that first out. Now here's that tough part of the Hopkins order that I was talking about.
Polyak, the leadoff hitter. First pitch is a strike to him. Drove that ball to Reed Olson in right field and made a great running catch to start the bottom half of the first for Hopkins. McLaughlin quickly ahead in the count, 0-2.
2 straight breaking balls that caught Polyak off guard there. Polyak's got a very non-traditional stance, very crouched down over the plate, and I've seen him get hit a couple times this season, but you know, he's also very aggressive. He's got good pop in his bat. When he makes contact, it goes pretty far.
Fouled at the plate. I mentioned a 600 batting average coming in. Missed some time, just 24 or just 40 at bats. 24 hits though. 16 singles, 5 doubles, a triple, and 2 home runs. Went 4 for 4 against Wayzata in the Section 6 championship.
McLaughlin sticking to that breaking ball. He's caught him off guard pretty much 4 straight times. The last 2 swings, Polyak's been very defensive, but he's just gotten enough of it to stay alive. I would expect him to change it up or throw something in the dirt that he can't put his bat on here.
Bouncer over the mound and into base hit. Into center field, the first base hit of the game for Hopkins. A 1-out single for Polyak here in the 3rd.
Yeah, good hitting there by Polyak. Down 0-2, fouled off a couple breaking balls, was fooled badly in the first 2 swings. That time he stuck with it and kind of fought it right up the middle. McLaughlin had a couple pitches to waste, but left that one up in the zone, and Polyak took advantage and drove it right up the middle to get on base.
That brings up the catcher, Jake Perry. McLaughlin knows it's bear down on every hitter here. Hopkins with some dangerous bats in the lineup. First pitch just misses to Perry, who walked in the 1st inning.
You know, Polyak was nursing kind of a sore hamstring in that section final. He left the game and then ended up coming back. But you know, he was out for a big chunk of the season, the regular season, and then he strained his hamstring, I believe, again in the playoffs. So see what he does here on the base paths.
2-0 now, the count to Perry. Wyatt Nelson on deck. Called strike on the outside corner to make it 2-1.
Nice job to come back and a 2-0 count to throw that ball just in the outside part of the plate. You don't want to give anything in to Perry. He's good at getting that bat head around and driving it. So you don't want to give him anything in and down in the zone because he'll turn on it.
Trying to miss. Good pitch from McLaughlin to even the count at 2-2.
Again, staying on the outside part of the plate there. Don't want to put it in his wheelhouse because he can turn on and drive it out of his park pretty quickly. But stay on the outside part of the plate. Don't give him anything to drive and keep him off his toes.
The 2-pitch inside. The count is full. A little trouble finding the ball. Now Van Ingen picks it up. Polyak holding at first.
Jay should do his hair like that, like the catchers. Wilcox.
If he weren't on TV, maybe.
Yeah, maybe for next Sports Jam opener next year.
In summer he could grow it out.
Summer, yeah.
Well, he's still on TV in the summer. That doesn't help.
Big reveal next Sports Jam opener.
3-2, Polyak going. Ball hit in the air. Behind the infield, Polyak having to scramble back to first base, and making the catch in the outfield grass was Miller for out number 2.
Yeah, skied that one up just behind second base. Polyak was running and easily had the base stolen, but that put that ball in play, and he kind of had to find out where the ball was. He was looking up and trying to find the ball, but he should have just looked at his third base coach, but realized where the ball was just in time to get back to first base and not get doubled up.
Here's Wyatt Nelson. Throw to first. Polyak back in. Pitch low. Stopped by Van Ingen. Also a walk in his first at bat.
First time we see McLaughlin kind of paying attention to his shoes. He's got that mud kind of clumping up in his shoes. See if he starts to make mention of that chunky spot in front of the mound too.
This one gets to the backstop, and runner easily moving up 90 feet to second base. And a wild pitch by Garrett McLaughlin.
Now a base hit will bring that run for sure, and I think we're gonna switch out the ball because it's wet. You know, that ball scoots behind the home plate and gets in that grass, and that dirt kind of gets muddied up. You want a clean ball anytime you can. And here in the state tournament, they'll swap that out any time you can.
Two balls, no strikes to Wyatt Nelson. The runner in scoring position now, and 2 outs for Hopkins here in the third. Cut and a miss. That's 2-1.
Left fielder playing very deep. I mean, any ball hitting the outfield should bring that runner in from second base with 2 outs because he's moving on the crack of the bat. But definitely any hit to the left field will bring him in.
This one will get to the backstop. Another wild pitch. And on to third goes Polyak.
You know, we mentioned that was the first time we've seen McLaughlin, you know, pay attention to his shoes and kind of use that spike in the back to clean his shoes. And that's one of those things that you, as a pitcher, it's mental. You know you have the skill set, you know you have the talent, you've done it all year, but you start trying to think about other things and it distracts you and you're not able to throw the ball like you typically do to throw strikes, which we've seen McLaughlin do earlier in this so far this game.
3-1, hit in the air. Short and left field, long run. 3 players coming toward it, making a sliding catch is the left fielder Chase Lamont for the third out of the inning. Second big outfield catch that Rogers has had in the first 3 innings of play, and they keep Hopkins off the board here in the third. No runs on a hit, 1 left for Hopkins. We've played 3. It's Rogers 3, Hopkins nothing.
There are amazing things to discover in the forest.
Toothless, time to go. What you picking up on, bud?
It's a whole hidden world of wonders. And the perfect place to spend time with family. What better place to let your imagination soar? Experience nature and create a memory you can share. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
Rogers 3, Hopkins nothing. Lights on here at CHS Field on a Friday night. Royals and the Royals doing battle with the winner advancing to Saturday afternoon's semifinals here at CHS.
Yeah, the Rogers Royals in good shape. You know, they got to be very happy with where they're at. Hopkins had a couple chances earlier in the game, but got out of jams, and here Rogers is up 3-0 in the 4th inning.
And nothing obviously against Nick Canitz, who's had a very strong season, but they get Miles Halligan, who's been nearly unhittable the last half of the season, out of the game there in the third.
Yeah, knocking him out of the game is a big confidence booster for this Rogers team.
Aaron Schmidt leading off, a huge 2-run homer in the 2nd inning to get the Royals on the board.
He still wonders if it actually went over the fence. Go show him the replay.
2-1 pitch is strike for 2-2. Grounded to short. Fiduci up with it. Throws to first. Harris can't come up with it. Probably E3 on this one. It was a little bit of a low throw, but I think probably should have been grabbed. regardless, Schmidt is on to start the fourth.
Yeah, nice easy hop route to shortstop. Cleanly fields it and comes up and throws it over first base. A little bit low, but you'd think Harris would scoop that up and get that out. But I think this one getting by him, it will be a E6 on the shortstop. It is a little low.
Yep, the official scorer calling it an E6. So Schmidt gets aboard.
I've seen Harris scoop those multiple times this year, and but still, you would expect the throw to be up towards his chest, and if it's not, it usually falls on the fielder throwing the ball.
Top of the order, Lamont trying to bunt. Missed on that one, strike one. Chase 0 for 2 on the night, but really contributed in that last half inning with the sliding catch that saved a run and got Rogers out of the third inning. Fouls this one, and so now he's behind 2 strikes.
Yeah,
trying to move Schmidt up a base.
That was a great catch, because I was mentioning during that at bat that any hit to the outfield would have brought in the run for Hopkins, but he was playing almost probably 3 or 4 steps short of the warning track. And that ball hit high enough by Nelson that he was able to come all the way in from the warning track and make that catch just outside of the third base, the grass there behind third base.
Swing and a miss. Couldn't get any piece of that pitch from Cannons. Gets his first strikeout, 1 away here in the Rogers fourth.
Yeah, his job there was trying to put the ball in play, move that runner down from first to second, but that breaking ball way off the plate wasn't able to get a piece of it and stay alive.
That brings up Maurer. His third at bat already here. It's just the fourth inning. Joe's bunt up high for ball 1.
So appeal down to the second base umpire. One of the benefits you have here during the playoffs, especially state tournaments, you have 3 umpires, so you can kind of appeal with confidence and know that they're actually able to see what's going on. Sometimes during the regular season, that's such a tough call that they're not in position to see if they can appeal or have an accurate judgment on it.
1 ball, 1 strike. High, 2-1. Bunt went around. It's a strike.
Good pitch there down in the zone. Yeah.
Count evens at 2-2.
Looked like a good pitch to bunt, but it dove down towards his feet and wasn't able to get the bat back enough in time.
Way outside, the count is full.
Maybe a good spot to put the runner in motion here again. Called a balk. No pitch.
It moves Schmidt up to second base.
The runner was not moving, but the balk gets him down there to second base.
Three-two pitch. Wicked foul. Right toward the Rogers dugout.
Goodness, count your blessings. Yeah, that fencing's great for that fence, for the fans down there. But I remember sitting down the first base line, looking at that third base dugout and saying, "Hey, man, if a left-handed hitter fouls the ball, those players are right up on the fence. They got to be quick."
Ball 4. Maurer with a good at bat draws a walk, and now first and second for Rogers here in the fourth.
Yeah, nice job to foul off that last pitch and then take that ball forward to get himself down to first base, and our runners on first and second with only 1 out.
Easton Miller, the batter, takes the first pitch out of the zone for ball 1.
Good opportunity here for Rogers. Harder to order up, runners on base with only 1 out. Good chance to put another run or 2 up on the board here against this Hopkins team.
Miller reached on an error in his last at bat. Runner going from second, throw down to third, just in under the tag is Schmidt.
I don't think that was an intended delayed steal, but it kind of scooted away from Perry for a second. He didn't come up cleanly with it, and then that hesitation allowed the runner to kind of make a break, and he got down there to
he tore his
third
jersey.
base.
He's like, look, I got a hole in my jersey.
He's
now.
having one heck of a night, this guy. What else can he do?
1-1 now, the count to Miller. Pitch from Canitz is in for a strike.
Nice breaking ball. He's got a lot of batters kind of stepping out there and not anticipating that breaking ball, but when you step out and it breaks across the plate, that's an easy strike.
One, 2, turns him back inside. It's 2-2. Long look down at third. Coach Brian Harapat. Well, this one scoots away from Perry. In comes Schmidt. It's a run. And it's 4-0 Rogers. On a wild pitch by Canitz. Miller strikes out on the play. Maurer to second, but another run in for Rogers.
Yeah, he gets the strikeout there, but it's down in the dirt and it scoots away from Perry. The runner was moving down to second base. The runner thought he had a chance to move down to first, but since the runner was already occupying first, he's out automatically on the strikeout. But that runner from third comes in to score as that ball scoots back to the backstop.
How about that? Schmidt advances on a balk. Stolen base, but on a ball that got a little bit away from Perry, and then the wild pitch allows Aaron Schmidt to come home, and he reached on an error.
Yeah, it was pretty efficient inning for Rogers. Nothing too flashy, but moving those base runners around any chance you get is what you got to do against this Hopkins team, and 1 run at a time. And if you're Hopkins, you don't want to start stressing and squeezing. Yeah, it's the top of the 4th, but you have a potent lineup at the plate. You just got to string together a few hits to get back into this game.
Another called strike to Reed Olson.
It's a good-looking breaking ball from up here that kind of darts in over the plate, comes in at the shoulder, and breaks over the plate.
Olson singled in the first, reached on an error, or on a fielder's choice rather, and scored in the third. 1-2 pitch. Out of the way. Maurer, the runner, will head back to second.
Yeah, those balls head down that foul ball line really quick with these aluminum bats. It seems to be faster. I mean, it is faster than a wooden bat, but when you're playing minor league baseball, you swing pretty hard too.
Way outside, Perry grabs this one. It's 2-2. Grounded to third, Sicking up with it across the diamond, just in time. Nice scoop by Harris for the third out in the Rogers 4th. But for the Royals, the Rogers Royals, they pick up a run. No hits, 1 error and 1 left on. 3.5 innings. Rogers tacks on another run. Our score now 4-0. Rogers leading Hopkins.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self, and I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
Beautiful CHS field here in St. Paul, home of the St. Paul Saints and home for section and state tournament baseball in Class 4A. What a great facility they built here, Drew, a handful of years ago. And it's a wonderful place to watch a game, to play a game. What a thrill for these kids to be able to play on a field like this and be able to experience state tournament baseball, and now in this last game under the lights.
Yeah, this is one of the hidden gems of Minnesota. If you haven't been to CHS Field, you're missing something. I mean, they had a good park over by the state fairgrounds where you see the train, see double train, but that park was getting old. Did a really nice job, put it on the light rail transit here that's right off 94, just off 35E, and accessible parking. But they did a great job with the layout. They make it more than a baseball game. They make it an experience, so you're coming to kind of enjoy the evening, the facilities, everything around it. It's not just, because the Saints aren't, high-level professional baseball. They're good baseball, right? But it's more about the experience and coming to have fun at CHS Field and experiencing the Saints baseball environment.
Strike to Calvin Harris to start the bottom half of the fourth inning. Drew, there's a party going on in that club on the press box level in here. We're going to have to check out after the ball game, I think.
Yeah, there's actually disco lights and everything.
Something like that.
You know who's probably over there? Wilcox. Wilcox is probably over there.
Sure he is. 2 strikes to Calvin Harris to start the Hopkins fourth. Cut and a miss, and a big strikeout by Gary McLaughlin to start the home half of the fourth inning.
McLaughlin's feeling good, feeling confident out there, giving looks to players. He's throwing strikes, striking players out. They're not supposed to be here. This is a Rogers team that didn't have the greatest season and playing a big school. And Hopkins, they have that basketball program. They got all these other sports, the big school, big conference, and here's Rogers sneaking into the playoffs with a losing record. They're not supposed to be doing this, but here they are up 4-0 in the bottom of the fourth against this Hopkins team, and they're having fun. They're feeling confident. They have that kind of loosey-goosey feel, and it's fun to watch.
They're ranked 50th out of 62 4A teams in the QRF going into the postseason. Won the 4 playoff games, allowing just 5 runs. Winning on the road against Elk River, Moorhead, and Buffalo, and then beat Buffalo again in Cold Spring in the section final to get to state for the first time. That's inside. 2-1 now, the count to Parker Johnson. Got some good pitching performances, not just from Garrett McLaughlin, but some other guys who came up late in the season. Austin Shingledecker, Zach Evenson, Carter Dunn, all contributing. And that's what you need. Team effort. It's different guys pitching, coming through with big games or big outs, big innings, and guys at the plate. Like tonight, Aaron Schmidt, the number 9 hitter, gets the 2-run homer.
He's one of my new favorite players.
Up high, and the countdown goes full. 3-2 to Parker Johnson. Hopkins looking for base runners here in the bottom of the fourth. They played well down the stretch. They were just the number 3 seed in their section tournament, but went through with 4 straight wins. Hit in the air out to left. Tagged pretty well. Lamont back, still going, and it's off over his head and over the fence for a ground rule double. Boy, that just kept going, Drew. I thought Lamont would have that measured. He kept going back, and that ball kept carrying. And Johnson.
They calling a home run?
Oh.
He's calling it a home run. That definitely hit the warning track. He's calling that a home run. Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure this bounced on the warning track.
Oh, I don't think there's any way this was out, is it? Oh, no. My goodness, no. That's not even close.
No. Yeah, that's definitely a ground rule double. Even he thought it was a ground rule double. He held up at second, but he started looking around and saw the left field umpire calling it a home run, so he advanced around the base pass. But you can see here it's in the front half of the warning path or the warning track, and you can see the dirt fly up. I don't know if the umpire thought it hit his glove and bounced over, or hit his foot or bounced over, or what, but you can definitely see it hit the dirt there. And it's going to be tough to overrule this. You don't see it often overruled. And, of course, they don't have the benefit of replay. And like you see in the FIFA World Cup or all these plays, they don't have virtual replay and all this booth. I mean, that's us. But they don't have communication with us to let them know that definitely hit the warning track. And I think the left field umpire is going to be talked to by the infield umpires, which is not very common for the infield umpires to overrule an outfield umpire on a ball hit to the warning track. But that clearly hit the warning track. It'd be interesting to have a microphone on that discussion as well as the umpire's discussion. I know what the Rogers discussion is like. How is that even considered a home run? But if you're Hopkins, of course, you're going to say, yeah, that was a home run. Of course it was a home run.
There's Jason Mikolakis, the Hopkins head coach, really did a nice job with this program to get them to their first state tournament in 7 years. And Brian Hairpat,
they're going to call him back.
State tournament appearance. And it will be a double, which is the right call. Coach Mikolakis is going to come out and say, well, look, the guy who was the closest to it called the home run. How can you be... The right call is being made, but I can understand his frustration. He said, hey, that's your call. You called it a home run. How are you getting talked out of it by Rogers or the other umpires?
Yeah, this is not necessarily a discussion of if the ball was hit out of the park or not. It was a matter of how did you miss that call, because that could cost us further on down the road. And that's something that, you missed it. You called it a home run. You're taking away a run off the board from us. But the correct call is a ground rule double, and I don't think he would argue that. I think what he's arguing is, how are you guys overruling an umpire that's 20, 30 feet away from that ball? Well, probably more than that, but it's his call. There's a hierarchy of calls when it comes to umpiring, and he made the call.
So Johnson returns to second base. He is in scoring position here with one out in the fourth. Let's see if this, though, will get Hopkins going at the plate. Will Stein, the batter. Coughlin's first pitch is in for a strike. Outside, Perry's got to, or excuse me, Van Engen's got to scoot out to stop that.
Yeah, good secondary lead. Probably could have taken third there, but you don't want to get that. You never want to make an out at third because you're in scoring position here.
Stein, 7 extra base hits on the season, 11 RBIs. 1-1 pitch to him is a called strike.
It's the breaking ball that we've seen him start to feel much more confident throwing, and anytime he throws it over the plate, he seems to be getting a called strike or a defenseless swing from a Hopkins batter.
Swing and a miss. Stein upset it himself, and it's strike 3 and out number 2. Fourth strikeout for Garrett McLaughlin, and now 2 down.
Yeah, nice job here by McLaughlin to focus in after giving up that ground rule double. Another breaking ball off the outside part of the plate. That one dropped down in the zone and got that swinging strike to get a second out here in the fourth.
He's got that sharp breaking ball, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's a good breaking ball.
First pitch misses high to Sicking. Bounced out in his first at bat. That's a called strike, 1-1.
Yeah, you can usually tell when a pitcher is feeling confident and feeling good. Anytime they have a good solid breaking ball, that usually kind of sets up their fastballs are usually pretty easy to throw. If you're throwing that breaking ball, it kind of builds that confidence throwing curveballs or fastballs and changeups as well.
1 ball and 2 strikes on the called strike to Sicking. Johnson taking his lead out at second. Coughlin's pitch grounded to short. Backhanded by Miller. Throw across and it gets past Schmidt. In comes Johnson with a run throw down to second, and Sicking is out. The run will count. And Hopkins does get on the board. Sicking thrown out, though, to end the inning. I'm not sure what the argument was.
Trying to argue that there was fielder's interference
by the first baseman.
But I think the first baseman was trying to field the ball, so he has the right to field the ball. And when the runner runs into him in the baseline when he's trying to field the ball, that's just a fair play. That's not fielder's interference.
The Sicking thrown out, but Johnson does score, and Hopkins is on the board. The inning is over. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error on that throw, and nobody left on. 4 innings complete at CHS. Our score, Rogers 4, Hopkins 1. More state baseball on CCX Sports after this.
You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
John Jacobson with Drew Keel. Into the high school sports season, Drew, with the state baseball tournament and lacrosse this weekend. State championships in lacrosse coming up Saturday. State championships for baseball next Thursday at CHS, or excuse me, at Target Field. Now, often these games that have been at Target Field for the last several years have been played on Monday, but the Twins are home Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday against the Red Sox. So the championship games pushed out to next Thursday.
Yeah, definitely a fun time of the year for all these kids, especially the seniors who, most of them, you know, I think all graduation has pretty much happened. So high school seniors have completed their school. They've walked across the stage. Nobody tripped, nobody fell, and now they can play some late season baseball for the high school season and kind of focus on their summer once this week wraps up. But this is what they're focused on, is playing these next 2-3 games and winning a state championship.
And of course, those kids that play Legion ball, their seasons have been pushed back a little bit because it's already just underway. These teams unable to play yet, these programs. But I think you'll take it, right?
Yeah, you definitely take that trade-off.
Up high, that's a strike call. Cannett's beginning his second full inning in relief. Came on with 2 outs back in the third, and for Halligan, throw down to first base, and strikeout put out. Christian Myers retired to start the Rogers 5th.
Nice strikeout here. Good job by Perry to get that ball in the dirt, keep it in front of him, scoop it up, takes his time, steps out into the field, makes a good strong throw down to first base, makes it look so easy, but that happens so quick, and that happens with practice to make that look so easily.
3rd strikeout for Cannon, 7th strikeout for Hopkins pitching. A called strike to Carter Van Engen here with 1 out in the Rogers 5th. Strike call. No balls, 2 strikes. Van Engen flew to right in the first, hit by a pitch in the third. Fouls this one back. People dancing over there, Drew. I can see it from our angle here over in the Securing Financial party room. That's a single to right field with 1 out here for Van Engen in the 5th.
Well, this Rogers team seems to be having quite the party, you know, coming in with not a great record, but man, taking on this Hopkins team without any fear. And Hopkins is starting to press, getting that 1 run in the bottom of the 4th, puts a little bit of confidence in there for him. But you know, Rogers feeling great, got to be feeling great, up 4-1 late in this game against Hopkins.
Nick Smeagol is the courtesy runner. Then Engen at first. And looks like we're going to have a pitching change for Hopkins as Canitz will come out with 1 out here in the 5th. So 3rd pitcher coming on here for Hopkins. We'll take a break. More state baseball coming from CHS Field as Wyatt Nelson gets ready to come on for the Royals. Take a break. More baseball after this.
Opiates has taken everything and everyone I've ever loved away from me. Everything.
I blew my ankle out and I got prescribed pain pills by my doctor.
If making my detox public is gonna help somebody, I'm all for it. I just wish I would have had a warning.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Wyatt Nelson is the pitcher here for Hopkins in relief of Canitz, who pitched 2 innings. Gave up 1 hit, walked 1, and struck out 3. Gave up 1 run, unearned last inning. Responsible for the runner down at first. And Wyatt Nelson, as I mentioned earlier in the game, has done a good job both as a hitter and as a pitcher for Hopkins. His numbers as a pitcher: 38 innings pitched, Drew. And a nice record of 5-2 on the season. 59 strikeouts in 38 innings. So another guy averaging over a strikeout per inning.
Yeah, something going on with that pitching staff and that pitch, that coach that's teaching these pitchers at Hopkins, because they're throwing strikes, they're throwing curveballs. They got a great stat line, but you know, down 4-1 here, all he's got to do is keep Rogers from scoring another run. But I saw him pitch a few times in the section, and he's got great control and a really good breaking ball to kind of keep these batters off balance.
Brandon Welch is the batter. Triple for him and a run scored in the second. Drove in a run, reaching on a fielder's choice in the third. Spiegel, the runner at first, 1 away here. Rogers looking to add to their lead. This one driven pretty well out to center. Back and making the catch, and there's out number 2.
That ball did not seem to carry nearly as much as previous fly balls out to left center field, but nice play by the center fielder to track that one down and get the second out.
It's Parker Johnson who's taken over in center with Nelson coming to the mound. Cut and a miss. A good healthy swing by Gavin McLaughlin. Runner going and fouled out of play by McLaughlin. And Nelson ahead 0-2 on McLaughlin, who swings and misses, and Nelson gets out of the 5th inning. No runs on a hit. 1 left for Rogers. Nelson comes and closes the door. Hopkins fans on their feet trying to get their team going at the plate. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Hopkins trails Rogers 4-1 our score.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where do cats go on vacation? Moo. York.
Fans have stuck it out on a Friday night here to watch some state baseball on a comfortable Friday evening. The rain seems to have gone away, Drew. A nice mid-70s evening.
Yeah, it was warmer this afternoon. Some spotty rain showers, but nothing too serious. Just light rain, and really cooled down the atmosphere and made it a pretty nice night this evening.
73 degrees right now at 9:37 p.m.
Close to bedtime. Not for these guys, though. Hopkins team needs to get those bats going to get back into this game. Only 2 hits thus far.
8, 9, and 1 hitters to go against Garrett McLaughlin here in the home half of the 5th. Filamavicius, Fiducia, and Poliak, the scheduled hitters for Hopkins. McLaughlin right back to his set and delivers high and over the head. Filamavicius, it's 1-1.
That's the first breaking ball we've seen him kind of lose control of for quite some time. He had a couple erratic episodes in the first inning, a little bit in the second inning, but since then he's been pretty consistent, throwing strikes right around the plate and having that breaking ball where he wants it.
This is low. It's 2-1. He walked 2 in the first inning, but none since then. He struck out 4. And now just the 2 hits in 4 innings. And now it's fallen behind 3-1 to Filamavicius.
This is what we saw him doing earlier, McLaughlin. He was throwing the ball low in the zone, consistently throwing it low in the zone. It was over the plate, but it was just low, and that's what we've seen him do here the past couple pitches.
The 3-1 pitch popped up, and it's going to reach the seats.
Ooh, that is hand. Eesh.
Well, that really stung him.
That's going to hurt. That's not good. That's usually a broken bone. That hurts quite a bit. Hopefully cut the fat part of his hand. Yeah, it looks like cut him up towards the knuckle. Gotta get some ice on that right away.
Going to stay in the game. Well, you can tell that really hit.
Yeah, because usually when it hits the bat, you hear a ting, you hear something, but when it hits the hand, it's just kind of a subtle. Hopefully he escapes any broken bones. He's able to stick it out and play the rest of this game and further on throughout the tournament.
Well, let's see for Hopkins if that gets them going here. Throw to first, and Filamavicius back under the tag of Aaron Schmidt.
Well, it's definitely a step in the right direction, getting the bottom part of the order on base so Poliak can turn it over, and Poliak and then Perry and the rest of the team can kind of drive some runs, and that's what Hopkins is thinking here late in the game.
Fiducia pulls the bat back. 1-0. It's a long look down at third. Taking as a strike. Pitch on the way is low. But Engen makes the stop. Count goes to 2-1.
Nice job there by the catcher to sacrifice his body. You want to, when that ball skips towards you, you want to put your knees down on the ground and use that chest protector and knock it out in front of you. And did a nice job there to keep it out in front of him. Don't try and scoop it up. Just use that chest protector. Of course, if you can scoop it up with your glove, that's great. But use that chest protector to block it and keep it in front of you.
inside 3-1. And I think at the top of the order coming back up, if Fiducia can get on here.
It's a big spot.
Hopkins with a chance to really put something together perhaps here against McLaughlin in the 5th.
Yeah, I'm not surprised we're going to see a mound visit here.
Meanwhile, Drew, the other side of the river, your Minnesota Twins, another win, 2-0.
What's going on? That's amazing what they're doing. I'm going to the game on Sunday, and it was just going to be a nice Father's Day gift to bring the dads, but now it's just like, wow, this is the best team, second best team in baseball, and it's not a fluke. I mean, they're past the point where it's a fluke, and I've seen some people on Twitter and social media say, it's it's going to fade out, they're going to die out. But the thing people got to think about is the division is not that strong. And when you play 17 to 19 games against your interdivision teams, that's a lot of wins against Cleveland, Detroit, Kansas City, Chicago, that it's going to be hard for them to blow this lead and lose that 1 or 2 seed within the American League. But it's not like they're scraping by, and they're having a great season, and it's fun to watch.
And there's the second base runner of the inning here for Hopkins. So Philomaviscius and Fiducia reach. There's nobody out, and it's back to the top of the order and Luke Poliak.
This is the kind of stuff the top of the order for Hopkins dreams of. They got runners out there, and they can drive balls, and we're going to start to see someone get loose here for Rogers quickly. Last at bat, we saw him throw a couple breaking balls, about 4 straight to start off Poliak last time. He kept him off balance every pitch.
Poliak, first pitch swinging. Short right field, second baseman going back and calling for it. Meyer makes the catch. That's a big first out of the 5th inning.
Yeah, that's a huge out. Poliak's a great hitter, great on-base percentage, and to get him to fly out to the second baseman to get that first out is huge, and the runner's not able to advance.
One away for Jake Perry. Time called.
Just running somebody out to the bullpen for Rogers here.
Perry now steps out as Coughlin stepped off the rubber. Cut and a miss. Strike 1 to Perry. Popped out and walked in 2 at-bats. Two runners on, 1 out for Hopkins, trailing by 3 runs here in the 5th. A little low, and the count evens at 1-1.
Pretty similar pitch. That time he was able to lay off the ball in the dirt, and he's shaking his head that you can't fool me a second time. That's a good job to lay off that one.
Fouled at the plate, and the count goes to 1-2.
Another nice breaking ball there by McLaughlin to keep Perry off balance. Wasn't able to square that one up and just caught a piece of it.
McLaughlin is set, looks back towards second and delivers. Hit in the air, out to center field. Maurer makes the catch. No chance for the runners to move out and move up, and there's 2 away.
Nice job by McLaughlin to get these 2 big hitters out for Hopkins with runners on base to get himself 1 out away from getting out of another jam.
Here's Wyatt Nelson. First pitch strike to him. Walked in the first and retired on a great catch by Lamont in left field to end the 3rd. Driven out to center. Tagged, but pretty much at the center fielder. Maurer to leap a little bit up, but makes the catch. Hit right on the nose, but not Maurer. And what a great pitching job by McLaughlin to close out the fifth, getting the top three hitters out, and no runs in for Hopkins. No runs, no hits, no errors, and they leave 2 on. 5 innings complete now at CHS. Our score remains Rogers 4, Hopkins 1.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Rogers Royals fans loving this game so far tonight. 4-1 their team. 6 outs away from advancing to the semifinals in Class 4A, where they will face the winner today. Would face New Prague tomorrow afternoon. That much is certain. New Prague with a win over Blaine, and Eastridge and Stillwater in the other semifinal.
Yeah, that bottom half of the bracket, you would not expect to see New Prague versus Rogers. But hey, if Rogers can complete this game, you got to tip their hats to it. Played a pretty clean game, great pitching by McLaughlin, and key hitting to get out to a 4-1 lead here. So Hopkins kind of squeezing and pressing, I have a feeling, and they should be, because they only got 6 more outs to go.
Top half of the 6th. Aaron Schmidt, Chase Lamont, and Jonah Maurer. Ripped foul by Schmidt. Schmidt home run in the 2nd. Reached on an error and scored in the 4th. Nelson's pitch up high, 1-1. Rogers pitchers, Drew, continuing to throw in the bullpen. We'll see how long they go with McLaughlin. He comes out for the bottom half of the 6th inning.
Yeah, I think you got to give him a chance to go as deep as he possibly can. If you know, he probably has a short leash, but let him go out there and see if he can close out this game.
And Schmidt draws a walk to lead off the 6th.
That's the guy. That's the guy for them. If it's not McLaughlin, that's the player of the game for them. He had that huge home run just off the top of the fence. Big stolen base on the pass ball. Rips his jersey. Not bad for a 9-hitter. We're going to have a discussion on pitch count here.
Sounds like a discussion is what the count was, because the scorer did say 2-1 before that last pitch, but although I saw the umpire before the pitch signal 3-1.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think what he was saying is the box wasn't up to date. They didn't update the scoreboard in time, and I had the count right, and should have brought that up earlier if you heard me make the call, and it didn't sound right. You should have brought that up at that time.
Smeagol will come in and run here for Schmidt at first. Ron Hairplat's team trying to add to their lead here in the 6th. We'll see what the strategy is here. Sickink creeping in at 3rd, anticipating a bunt. Lamont not on that pitch, showing bunt, takes a strike.
Yeah, seems like a bunting situation here, but yeah, didn't score a run on that first pitch.
Runner going. Throw down to second, won't be in time, and it's a stolen base.
You know, taking advantage of that new base runner, put some speed on the base paths, and ball down low in the zone. Tough pitch for him to come up clean and get a good strong throw down to second base for Perry there, and runner easily beats the throw in to get the stolen base. Again, still a bunting situation, and see if they take advantage of that and try and move that runner down to third and sacrifice the out.
Smeagol now down at second base. Nelson looking back, and now enough for Lamont to want to step out. Calls time. Does get a bunt down. Sicking will let it go foul.
Good bunt, but just caught the edge of the grass there, and that pushed it and forced it to bounce foul. If that's on a level surface, that's probably going to be a fair ball, but just catches the edge of the grass and forces it to bounce to the left of the line, which is foul.
That count goes to 1-2 to Lamont. Nelson delivers a pop-up back of the infield, and Caduccia making the catch. Lamont retired for the first. Rogers out here in the 6th.
Yeah, pretty easy play there for the shortstop to track that one off the bat. As long as you determine right off the bat, if it's not too deep, you can call it off, call the third baseman off, and easily field that ball for the first out.
Pitch high to Maurer. Been on base twice in 3 at-bats. Nice pitch, catches the corner for a strike. 1-1. Bunted foul at the plate by Maurer. And the count goes to 1-2.
Umpire walks that ball out. I think that ball caught Perry just kind of in the midsection. A foul tip on the bunt just caught his left midsection. So the umpire walks it out and give him a little time to take a breath and make sure he's okay.
Nelson to the set, and his 1-2 pitch up high is 2-2. Cut and a miss. On to by Perry, and there's a strikeout. The 9th for Hopkins pitching. And it's 2 down.
Yeah, so on par with their typical strikeout per 9 rate. Nice breaking ball here. Took a little bit off it. A little bit slower, and sharp breaking ball down in the zone and got that strikeout.
Miller takes the first pitch strike.
That breaking ball a little bit different, more of a curve ball, which goes from the inside to the out. Breaking ball sliders usually kind of go from the top to the bottom, and that one went across the plate to get the first strike.
Inside 1-1. The inside almost hit him. 2-1.
Sounded like it did, but he didn't react at all. It sounded like it hit his glove. I think it did hit his glove. He didn't react though.
Yeah, he kind of looked back at the umpire. You know, and players know not to argue too much, and then now the home plate umpire is going to confer with his base umpires.
I mean, it's either a foul ball or a hit by pitch. I wouldn't argue that if I was Hopkins here at this point in the game, but it looks like it sounded like it ticked his glove. But I think what Hopkins is arguing is that it ticked his bat because he didn't react. But if it catches just, you know, some of those batting gloves have little pads on the top, and you really wouldn't feel it, and it happens so fast that you might not even react. But I think you just got to stick with the call of it just being a ball here, because those guys are 90 feet away or however far away they are from home plate.
And the call is good as stayed, Drew. What they had called, it's a ball. It's 2-1. Called strike. It's 2-2.
It's a tough pitch to pick up because it breaks pretty sharply, and you're expecting a fastball that's coming in at your shoulder, your chin.
Nelson trying to work around a leadoff walk, and he does with a strikeout of Easton Miller to end the Rogers 6th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, one left on for Rogers. They have stranded 8 runners in the game. Played 5.5 innings. Our score, Rogers 4 and Hopkins 1.
You don't have to be so strong.
Strength is not optional. This is my mother, my purpose. Real muscle is lifting her spirits between bedpans and bad news from doctors that doubt her strength. Strength is buried in bills, managing meds, and swallowing those moments of, Mom, it's me, your daughter. Remember? My strength is super, but I'm still human, right?
Find support for your strength. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community.
Two Bug friends have joined us tonight, but overall nice night for baseball, despite what that looks like. They're hovering up near the lights.
I'll tell you what, it's nice for us up in this booth that once you got that air conditioning kicked in and that rain kind of cooled everything down. It's beautiful, and of course you can see those bugs attracted to the lights and the heat, and I don't think the players are too bothered by it, but a great facility here in St. Paul, and like we were talking about earlier, right on the light rail just off the highway, good parking, accessible, and it's a fun little experience. And I think we're seeing a lot of the fans kind of hovering up towards the top of this lower level, which is the main level, but a decent crowd here this evening.
Calvin Harris will lead it off for Hopkins here in the 6th. Here McLaughlin starting his 6th inning of work, and first pitch off the plate for a ball. McLaughlin just the 2 hits allowed. Grounded to short, and that is off Paduccia and into left field for an error, or excuse me, off of Miller for an error, a second error for Rogers. And Calvin Harris is aboard here in the 6th.
Yeah, I think that ball kind of snuck up on him. That ball was drilled, hit pretty solid right at him, but you know, it's easy to see from up here and say from up here that ball should be fielded cleanly. That ball is hit really hard. That's one of the harder hit balls we've seen all night, and just doesn't come up cleanly and bounces off into left field.
Parker Johnson, the batter. McLaughlin's first pitch missed for ball 1.
Interesting to see how long of a leash McLaughlin has here. Of course, that was not his fault to let that leadoff runner get on base, but he's still in a position where he's pitching out of the stretch with the runner on first. And I think if he lets another run on, we might see a mound visit, if not a pitching change.
There's a strike call. Off the corner, it's 1-1. Fouled at the plate. McLaughlin works ahead, 1-2. He's been able, Drew, to work out of trouble all night. Not that he's been in a ton of trouble, but in all but one, except for the second inning, Hopkins has had base runners in every inning.
Yeah, they've definitely had opportunities. They've had the base runners on and had opportunities, but he's done a nice job to get himself out of jams and not let Hopkins get too deep into the inning.
1-2 pitch, tagged pretty well out to center. Maurer back under it, makes the catch. Couple of balls hit to him fairly deep here in the last 3 batters, and he makes the catch.
Yeah, another ball hit pretty deep to center field, but he tracked that one down pretty easily and made it look easy for that first out of the inning for Rogers here.
Rounded back to the pitcher. McLaughlin slips a little bit, decides to go to first with it. Probably the right play there, Drew. Get the sure out, and there's out number 2.
Definitely the right play in this position, this part of the game. You're thinking outs. You got to know the game situation, and especially when he takes that subtle slip, you don't want to see him try and recoup and make an extraordinary play. He had a chance at second base, but don't force it. Get the sure out, get it over at first base, and you're in the position here in Rogers where you can trade out for a run if you need to. So get that out at first, and here if a single happens, you give up a run, it's not the end of the world.
First pitch missing to Sickink, who's 0 for 2 tonight. Who did reach in his last at bat, and then a play that scored Hopkins' only run. Reached on an error, though on the same play was out on the overthrow. Trying to get to second base on the ball that had missed the bag at first. 2-0 to the senior third baseman. Here's for the healthy lead down at second. The 2-0 pitch. This is low, 3-0. Sam was a player I had a chance to do a story on last month, Drew. Great curveball. He pitches some for Hopkins. I think more remarkable than his pitching. A perfect ACT kid, 36. Right out of the Drew Keogh textbook. He'll go to Notre Dame next year.
Yeah, I think I wrote the test manual for that one. Hey, here's what you do. No, that's amazing. I can't remember what I got. I wasn't a 36 though, but he's going to Notre Dame, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that just says a lot about a kid, and it's great to play sports, but the academics is really where it pays off for so many of these athletes, because a lot of these guys love baseball, they love football, they love hockey, basketball, cross country, running, whatever it is. They love their sports, but there's a stat in NCAA that such a small percentage of collegiate athletes go on to play professional sports that these kids need to focus on academics, and to be able to, academics is the priority, and to be able to get a 36 in ACT says a lot about what he's been doing and where his focus has been, and to be able to be part of this Hopkins baseball team is just an extra added bonus for him and his family.
And now the tying run to the plate here for Hopkins, trailing 4-1 in the 6th. First pitch to Felmavicius is fouled back for strike 1. Got in the miss, and McLaughlin works ahead. 2 strikes on the Hopkins second baseman.
Good swing at that ball, but tough pitch to hit, and you see him leaning way over that plate, so anything on the inside part of the plate is going to be tough for him to hit, but you also want to make sure you don't hit him in this position.
Rogers Royals fans up on their feet. McLaughlin's pitch hit into center field. That's going to be in for a base hit. Harris is around third. Here's the throw. It's going to be cut off. A run is in. It's 4-2. An RBI single from Louis Felamavicius. And Hopkins now is the tying run on base.
Huge hit for the bottom part of this order for Hopkins, and of course here's a 9-hitter. But what that does is put Hopkins in a position to bring up the top part of their order at least one more time in this game, and now they're within 2 runs at 4-2. Not the hardest hit ball, but when you're behind in the count, all you got to do is put the bat in the ball and put it in the right position. That goes up the box for a RBI single, and nice hit for him.
Jason Schumacher will run for Sickink down at second. Jason Mikulakis was telling me before the game that he coached some of these. A lot of these kids played together in fall ball a couple of years ago, Drew. The Hopkins and the Rogers kids, that a lot of them played together, and he was their coach. So there's a lot of these players who have played with each other before, and now having to go head-to-head here in the state tournament. First pitch strike to Kyle Fiducia.
Rockland seemed to reach back a little bit extra there and throw a little bit harder and got that strike call.
Missed low and away, and it's 1-1. An error, a walk, and a single produced a run for Hopkins here in the 6th. McLaughlin's pitch, cut and a miss, a good one. He got Fiducia to swing and miss there, and now the count 1-2.
Definitely caught off balance on that one. I was expecting a breaking ball, kind of stepped back, but realized it was going to be close to being a strike, so put a swing out there and wasn't able to make contact.
1-2 pitch, that gets back to the backstop. It's a wild pitch. Both runners will move up, and now the tying run is at second base for Hopkins.
So a lot of stuff going on. Yep.
Excuse me. Schumacher to third, Felamavicius to second.
So now a single, any hit to the outfield will bring in both runs, most likely, as the batters will be moving on contact, as well as a ball down in the dirt on a called third, or on a swinging third strike, opens up first base, so he can advance down to first base. So they have to make that throw, and makes it a tougher play.
2-2 pitch, fouled away. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Hopkins trailing by 2 runs in the 6th. Garrett McLaughlin trying to get his team back to the dugout. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. And a high fastball. He struck him out. And Hopkins is out in the 6th inning. They do pick up a run. On a hit, there was an error and 2 left on. Hopkins is stranded 7 in the game. We go to the 7th inning here at CHS. Great high school baseball game. Our score, Rogers 4, Hopkins 2.
Meet the scan. A simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Four to 2. We are past 10 p.m. on a Friday night. Past Drew Keough's curfew, but he's hung in with us here on the telecast.
I got a pass. I got a pass tonight. Got a couple baseball games tomorrow with the boys, a baseball game with the Twins on Sunday. It's
nice.
I was leaving the office and, what are you doing this weekend? And I said, huh, baseball, 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 baseball.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Reed Olson, the cleanup hitter, is the leadoff hitter for Rogers here in the 7th. Christian Meyer and Carter Van Engen scheduled to follow. Facing Wyatt Nelson and delivers a strike. It's 1-1. Nelson came on in relief in the 5th inning. It's a lot of walk and struck out 3 in an inning and 3rd. Hit to short. And over to first. Fiducia to Harris. Olson retired to start the 7th inning.
Looks like a pretty routine play, but that's a great play by the shortstop there. Couldn't come in on the ball. Had to field it to his right, moving away from first base, deep in the hole, all on the fringe of the grass, and made a good strong throw all the way across the mound to get that first out.
Meyer, the batter's been on a couple of times in 3 at-bats. Cut and a miss. Nelson fastball for strike 1. Ball back, and it's quickly 0-2. Grounded, Harris dives for it and gets to Nelson in time. What a play!
Nice to hear, but yeah, great play by Harris. Diving play. He made slight hesitation to decide if he was going to let the second baseman try and take that ball and stay and cover first base, but he realized he had a chance, made a nice diving stop, and then nice job by Nelson to get off the mound and hustle over to first base and come up the line to field that ball and just get his foot down there in time. Very close play. You see Harris here, slight hesitation, makes a nice diving stop, strong throw over to first to get the out.
Carter Van Engen, strike 1 to him. And now 0-2. Pie 1-2. Two and two. Strike 3, Nelson with his 4th strikeout, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. And he gives Hopkins a chance here in the bottom half of the 7th. Hopkins trailing by 2. Last chance for them. More baseball from CHS on CCX after this. Garrett McLaughlin will go to the mound here in the 7th inning, nursing a 4-2 lead against the number 3 seed, the Hopkins Royals. 11-13 this Rogers team was coming into the state tournament. 7-13 going into the postseason and looking for their 5th win in a row.
Yeah, that's amazing. They finished the season on a 4-game losing streak. Went 4 straight games through their section. Been an up and down season, but here they are, 3 outs away from advancing to the state semifinals. And What a night for this pitcher. You know, he's been pitching out of jams throughout the evening, but throwing strikes when he needs to and getting outs when he needed to. And like I said, 3 outs away from defeating this very, very tough and talented Hopkins Royals baseball team.
Well, you got some good hitters. You got to retire before you can call the victory for Rogers, and he'll start with the leadoff hitter, Luke Poliak.
I would expect a steady dose of breaking balls, but Poliak's seen that breaking ball several times this evening. The past 2 at-bats, Poliak, of course, led the game off with Hopkins with that deep drive to right field. Nice play by the right fielder, but past few at-bats, McLaughlin's been throwing that breaking ball and has kept him off balance for the most part.
Laughlin's first pitch is a strike.
There it is again.
Poliak a single in 3 at-bats. Grounded, tough hop, and it's foul. I don't think Welch, if that had stayed fair, would have been able to throw Poliak out on that, but it's a foul ball, and McLaughlin's ahead 0-2 in the count.
Yeah, Poliak, a great hitter, had a great season at the plate, but he's just not picking up that breaking ball. McLaughlin's been having tremendous success throwing the breaking ball throughout the evening, but having such an impact on this leadoff hitter that's had a great season for Hopkins and Poliak.
Well, 2-pitch hit him. That brings the tying run to the plate. How about that? An 0-2 pitch, and he hits Poliak.
That's the guy. I've seen him play a few games, and that's the kind of stuff that he lives for. He likes this. He's like, hey, I'm doing this for the team. Let's go. I haven't been doing it all night at the plate like I was expecting to do it, but you know what? It's the bottom of the 7th. We're down 2. I got on base. Let's see what we can do to follow this up, especially being down 0-2 in the count.
Jake Perry to the plate. The walk in 3 at-bats. McLaughlin's pitch grounded slowly to the first base side. It'll be the first baseman Schmidt that'll take it himself. Runner moves up, Poliak to second, but I think Rogers at this point will take that. They're 2 outs away from winning.
Yep, they're definitely in a position where they can trade outs, a run for or advancing a base runner down to second for an out there. They'd even do it here. They would take an out to let that runner get down to third, but a couple big bats here for Hopkins and Nelson and Kelvin Harris coming up behind him.
Nelson, a walk in 3 at-bats, but a great hitter all season for Hopkins. Ken Garrett McLaughlin has been a great pitcher in his own right.
Yeah, he's had that breaking ball, throwing darts with it and keeping the Hopkins batters off balance.
Retire him and get Rogers to the semifinals. 0-1 pitch on the way. Cut and a miss, and it's 0-2. Like you can tell McLaughlin just wants it, right? You know, he's got the adrenaline. He's looking back toward his catcher Van Ingen, wants the ball back.
Yep. After losing that 0-2 count to Poliak, that adrenaline is pumping.
That one skips and gets all the way back to the backstop. Van Ingen doesn't know where it is. So similar to the last 0-2 pitch when he hit Poliak, kind of maybe overthrew a little bit here, Drew.
Yeah, he definitely threw that breaking ball straight into the dirt, and not the worst thing. I mean, it's the worst things that could happen. You just don't want to groove a fastball down the pipe to Nelson. But you know, that runner at third is not the most important deal. But you know, letting this runner get on base, you definitely don't want to do.
Right. One-two pitch, cut and a miss, and a strikeout. There's 2 away.
Again, that breaking ball has been extremely dangerous and very effective for McLaughlin throughout the evening.
Garrett McLaughlin, the junior, trying to get one more out. Calvin Harris takes the first pitch low for a ball. Harris reached on an error and scored Hopkins' only run of the game last inning. One of 2 runs, excuse me, their second run of the game, and their run that was in the 6th that made it 4-2. Parker Johnson scored their first run back at the 4th. 1 ball, no strikes to Harris. Polyak down at third. Outside corner for a strike. It's 1-1.
He's thrown that breaking ball very effectively. Just caught the outside corner of the plate right there. Almost an impossible pitch to hit.
An outside corner has been pretty consistently a strike for all the pitchers here tonight. 1-1, fouled at the plate. Now Hopkins down to its final strike.
I think that was the best pitch you'll see this at bat. That was right there, right around his waist. Good pitch to drive, just wasn't able to square it up.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Harris. Garrett McLaughlin peers in. And the pitch, he went around, strike 3, and the Rogers Royals have won it. 4-2.
Quite the surprise, but well-deserved. Great pitching by McLaughlin. Key outs, great pitching all throughout the evening, and Hopkins just wasn't able to get the runners on base to get them to come home to plate, and that early lead for Rogers held up.
And Hopkins, felt like they had the stuff to win it this year with the deep pitching staff, and they just ran into a very good pitcher tonight in Garrett McLaughlin, who got some good defense in key spots behind him. They had some timely plays, took advantage of some miscues by Hopkins. Drew, you add that all up, and you've got a Rogers win at the end of the night in 2 hours and 17 minutes.
Yeah, good fun game. Not back and forth, but definitely there was no point where this game seemed to be out of control, and Rogers got that early lead, and Hopkins seemed to hang on and hang around, but just couldn't pull it out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. They had their chances, but McLaughlin just came through when he needed to and got that victory for Rogers, and their dream season stays alive here.
They win their 5th straight game in the postseason, improved to 12-13. They will take on New Prague in the state semifinals here on Saturday afternoon at CHS. Hopkins will drop into the losers bracket and go in the consolation play Saturday afternoon over at Northwestern. And who gets to lead that will cheer Aaron Schmidt, who had the 2-run homer that really put Rogers in the driver's seat early back in the 2nd inning. And then they ride Garrett McLaughlin's clutch pitching the rest of the way to win it.
Yeah, not bad for a number 9 hitter to have that type of an evening partner that with a great pitcher on the mound, having a successful outing all throughout the evening, throwing strikes and a tremendous breaking ball. The top half of this Hopkins order has been dangerous throughout the season, but McLaughlin's breaking ball really kind of quieted them, and this all-hair team from Rogers seems to have quite the thing going for them in this last 5 games, and it'll be fun to see what they do against New Prague tomorrow.
Drew, great way for us to finish up our coverage of high school baseball for 2019 on CCX. We couldn't have asked for a better night. Thank you for your work all season, and tonight, great telecast and on a terrific venue here at CHS. A fun ball game, and it's Rogers winning and advancing to the semifinal. That will do it for our telecast tonight on CCX. For Drew Keogh and all of our great crew here, I'm John Jacobson. Thanks for tuning in. Our final score again tonight, it's Rogers advancing to the 4A semifinals. They defeat Hopkins 4-2.